peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. My name is Wood. Please become a subscriber to the channel if you like the way any of the information is being broken down, presented, discussed, previewed, analyzed, recapped, whatever. Any form of engagement will be appreciated. Hit the like button. Share the video to your circle who's interested, who is interested in the subject matter that I discussed, so on and so forth. You can also support the channel with a donation via Cash App, $, a tribe called Reg, R-E-G. Get into some bite down boxing. I watched the video, I guess it was on Keith Thurman's Instagram page maybe. And like I said, man, the question that I continue to have is who sends a contract? It's like, and I was thinking about it earlier, like when the PBC does make a fight, you don't hear anything about an offer or nothing. You don't hear no business. You don't hear no business activity. They just announce the fight. Sometimes, after a fight, they'll have the next fight scheduled off, but it's seamless. It happens seamlessly. But here's Keith Thurman. He says F Bob Arum. He says that Arum is lying about him asking for $10 million. He said he never said that, and maybe he didn't. Probably didn't. He probably didn't. But what I'm confused by, they said that Keith contacted them or emailed them about a fight. Contacted them about a fight, about fighting Bud Crawford. Why didn't the PBC contact Bob Arum or Top Rank about the fight? When do they get involved? He's out here now, talking about who he liked to fight, whether it be Sean Porter. I don't think basically he said Errol. And he said Errol, how could Errol lose the energy and the interest in fighting him now? And he went on and said that he wanted to fight Sean Porter a year before they actually fought. But who sends an offer? If he's talking about fighting Errol Spence Jr., he's not sending him an offer. He's waiting for something to be sent to him. He's contacting Top Rank or Bud. He's not sending an offer. Who the hell sends an offer? It's really mysterious with the PBC. I think I've heard offers sent by the Zone, Golden Boy, Top Rank. I think I have. But another thing was like when they supposedly sent an offer to, and this is all this negotiating in the media and on, in public, negotiating publicly. When they sent a contract, supposedly, when they sent something to Danny Garcia, Garcia said, you got to send it to Al. When something was sent to the Charlos was like, I didn't open the email, blah, blah, blah. You got to send that to Al. So I don't know, man. I'm confused. The one thing I will say, though, is that I'm on this LeBron thing. I'm trying to leave beer alone. Just got off the stationary bike and treadmill, so treating myself. But, and I forgot my thought too. I just, but when he had the title, he didn't have any energy in facing Terrence Crawford. So, and let's look at it. So when Terrence, and I wrote an article on roundbyroundboxing.com when it happened, so I know what I'm talking about. When Terrence Crawford came up to welterweight and had the fight scheduled with for the world title with can't even think of my man's name, the Hornet, Jeff. I don't even remember. Horn. Is it Jeff Horn? the Hornet. Since he got beat by Zeus Jr., he's kind of irrelevant now. But when Bud came up to welterweight, he got that fight to win a title. He didn't go and get involved in the rankings and whatnot. He thought I'd go fight for a world title. And obviously that worked for him because being the WBO 140-pound champion, he could come up and face the 147-pound WBO champion, which Jeff Horn had that belt. Didn't have to mess with getting, going up in the rankings and trying to become a mandatory situation. But he came up and fought him and said, well, now that I have a title, let me face Unify. I think at the time, Keith Thurman, who now refers to himself in third person solely, he was the Unified champion, and he thought if he got a title by beating Jeff Horn, they could make that happen. He came out, he was on First Take and said that Keith Thurman was the number one welterweight in the world. And that's who he wanted. They didn't want nothing to do with it. So it just sent us into this situation where we know now, Thurman became unified by beating who? Sean or Danny. Maybe it was Danny. Whatever. And then, soon after, the belts made their way around to where not Thurman, but Errol Spence Jr. is now the unified champion with the WBC and the IBF. Now Thurman is on the outside looking in, and now he's talking. That's another thing that I've said. Nobody in the PBC calls out anybody. They don't want to fight anybody. They don't want to make an event. They don't target anybody. They don't want to do nothing great. They don't want to unify. They don't want to become undisputed. Errol Spence has come out, but he knows in saying I want to be undisputed at welterweight, that means you got to fight. Bud Crawford. And we know Thurman was dealing with his injuries, his hand, bone spurs, his elbow, so on and so forth. So who knows what to make any of this, but it just goes back to the fact that nobody in boxing right now, very rarely, does anybody do anything unless they really need something. And you need something until you get your first title. Then that level of need goes down. Then, as soon as if you can become a unified champion, that level of need goes down. You don't need anything. You just kind of sit there. What's going on with Jermell Charlo? No plans for him. Well, we've heard some things for Gervonta Davis. At least something is cooking over there. But it just seems like a lot of these guys, man, just standing around. So that's really it, man. I just who sends a contract? Who sends a contract? Even for the rematch for Wilder and Fury. Anything ever gets sent? I mean, it seemed like the PBC was waiting on the ball was all in their court until they went and did this mediation thing, which now we've heard some rumblings out of that Tyson Fury says he'll never face, he'll never fight him again because of what he's been saying with everything that went wrong in the rematch. So that's it, man. Now that Keith needs something, he's willing to. We don't need to go into that, but he is willing to say everything and be loud and tell people what he feels, and to sit here and say now, well, how could you, asking Spence, how could you lose interest in fighting me? Well, when you gain 2 titles, you don't really have to want so much anymore. You don't have to, again, you can just sit back. I can't say that that fight can happen next because I would think that Keith Thurman would need to get a victory. I would think it would look better if he was coming off a victory versus coming off this loss to Pacquiao. But I think somehow that fight might come together, man. And you know, Keith Thurman in the video was saying that Danny Garcia fought scared. Um, I think he was kind of dismissive of Porter or something, you know, like it was already something that he ran through or taken care of. I don't know, man. It's I was talking to this boxer. I was trying to get this interview set up, and I was talking to this boxer's manager 2 days ago, and he said it my thoughts exactly. Like, man, boxing is corny. That's what his words. Boxing is corny. He can't get his fighter a fight. He's a world top 5 ranked fighter, and but he's not with one of the main 4 or the main 3, whatever. Golden Boy, PBC, Matchroom, Top Rank. He's not with any of them, and he can't get this guy who's a top 3, top 5, fighter in his division. He can't even get this guy in the discussion. And he's like, man, this boxing is just corny. And I'm like, I should have recorded that because that's it, man. Boxing is corny. These guys just sit around wasting people's time. And unless they need something, you don't really get anything as a fan. Anyway, that's it. I had to ramble for a second. Again, next Saturday, Raees Salim and Vic Pasillas, a pair of super bantamweight contenders. Got interviews with both of those guys on the channel. Nobody's probably made it to this point of the video, but live videos are out there with interviews with both of those cats. They'll be the co-main event to WBO super bantamweight champion Angelo Leo defending his title, his first defense, against Stephen Cool Boy Fulton, Cool Boy Steph. That's next Saturday night on Showtime. Also, Rolly Romero against Pudlow is also on there. So the interviews are on there. We do have fights next week. Bite down, boxer. Don't let them count you out. Pay me no mind. Sports and entertainment. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. 1.